Well, I'm back here now. I brought the boat unfinished on the inside out to the back of the trailer that I'm staying in, and I want to kind of just show you what I did in the bottom. What I did basically is I took tape, fiberglass tape, and I seamed up all the bottom. You can just see it there. I seamed up all the bottom corners. I did the front corners too, just the corners. I didn't do anything more. I used, I think it's a 4-inch wide tape, 2 inches on each side, and I put the seams on it all the way around. Now this is really important that you make sure you get all the bubbles out, and then when you get all the bubbles out and your tape's ready, take your thumb with the gloves on and run it along the seams. I did about 4 or 5 foot sections at a time, mixing just a little bit of fiberglass with a little bit of hardener, and run your fingers right in there so you can get your fingers right into those cracks and go from the center of the strip out both ways. Do it several times. Gets all the air out, makes it stick right to the joint of the edge of the plywood. And then what I did is I don't know if I did this on the last video, but I did the 1x2s on the outside edge and the inside edge. Okay, I sandwiched them basically, 1x2s. One side I used 1.25 inch screws, and then on the other side I used 2-inch. So what it did is it kind of sandwiched it in between. It went through the 1x2, through the plywood, and into the 1x2 on the other side. So, and I rounded the corners. Then what I did is I took oak, 1x2 oak, and I put 4 strips. Because the front of the boat is usually out of the water anyways, I didn't extend it right to the end. I kind of went about 2 feet back on the 2 center ones, and I went right where the curve starts on the outside rails. Again, 45-degree cut slanted. And I screwed them on. You can glue them, put a little tiny bit of the waterproof glue underneath the strips, and if you've got 2 people. I just screwed them, and what I did is I used 2-inch screws. I marked where the 1x2 slats were across where the boat is on the other side, and I used the 2-inch screws where it matched the slats, so it would go through the 3/4 inch oak. It would also go through the plywood and into the 1x2 on the other side. And then the rest of them I just used 1 1/4, which will be just through the plywood only, just barely. It wouldn't stick out. Okay, so that's what I did, and you can see I'll just walk around here gently. And in the back, of course, I doubled up the bulkhead. I allowed for 2 1/2-inch sheets, sandwiched them together with glue, screwed them together, waited till it set up, and then I put the back part on. I don't even know the name of it. And and now what I've done is I kind of give it a quick sanding. I sanded all the fiberglass, just the edges, and then I put spar varnish, 1 coat of spar varnish. I'll probably end up putting 3 coats of spar varnish on first, 24 hours between coats, and then I'm going to probably paint it or do something. But you should get a good seal in there first, not only sealing the fiberglass tape, but sealing the wood as well. Okay, that's where I am right now, and I'll go back and continue on where I was from the inside on the next part of the video. Okay, welcome back to my 14-foot Jon boat building out of wood. About $300 worth of materials total, and I'll try to continue on where I left off on the inside portion. I had to go to the outside because I had it flipped over. So what I did basically is every 4 feet along the plywood, I put a 1x2. You could easily put a 1x4 there if you wanted to give yourself a little extra wide nailing surface. And the reason why you need these, I got a 1x8 in the middle where the 2 pieces of plywood join, and that white thing that you see, that piece of wood, is a spreader bar, just keeping the width of the boat. because the oak strips that you put in the bottom that you saw just earlier need something to be nailed or screwed onto, sorry. And so that's basically what I haven't shown you. And also I put on a front piece onto the Jon boat. After I put on the front and back, I put this little nose piece on, and basically I just laid a piece of plywood over top of it, scribed a line around it, cut it, sanded it the corners a little bit, and put it on, screwed it on with screws, screwed on really well with glue and screws, and then I varnished it. So what you're seeing now on the boat, as I covered last one, I got 3 coats of spar varnish on the outside, and now it allows me after 3 or 4 days to put any kind of paint on it. It's mainly just a sealer, and I could put any kind of enamel paint over top of it. The seats, what I've done with the seats is I put a 1x8 block on both sides. You can see that one split pretty good. There's the other one right there, and I put it just under the thickness of the plywood plus 1/8 of an inch space. So I cut the seats with a slight taper on both edges, just so that I can slide the seat in. Now, should I want to take the seats out, they will just pop out by pushing on both ends, and now I can use the boat to sleep in. What I tend to do is put a pole bracket on the front in the center, put a pole bracket on the back in the center, just a small bracket where a pole can slide in, and you will have a wing nut to tighten it up, and then I can put a rope across or another pole across, and then just drape a tarp or canvas or whatever to make a little bit of a tent. Where I'm going with this boat, there's a lot of grizzlies, and and especially when the fish are running, the grizzlies are all in the river. What I'm going to be doing is anchoring out in the middle of the river and sleeping in my boat, especially if I have fish with me after I've caught them. Okay, I think that's about all for the outside. Of course, I glassed the edges, like I mentioned before. I put a 4-inch glass, 2 inches on each side for the front and all the bottom edges. It's just straight fiberglass, and sand it down after a little bit. The back, I put lots of caulking in the back, as you can see here. It doesn't matter, it takes away from the looks of the boat, but it helps in the ceiling. And I put a little bit of a piece of oak. I just bought a little $5 piece of shelving material at a local used building place, and I just glued and screwed it onto the side. And the reason I put it on the side is because this boat's going to have the jet propulsion system from the Yamaha 730 Wave Raider that I bought, and that's going to be for a kicker motor. It doesn't matter where you go, especially if you're going to go way in the back country, you always need to have a kicker motor with you. And the reason I built that little shelving thing is the kicker motor will go inside there and it'll keep it dry, and also help with the weight and balance of the boat itself. Need a little bit extra weight. So what I did is on the bottom is I used a kind of a gray blue oil-based stain, and I put 2 coats on it. It's kind of a see-through type. I think if I did it over again, I'd probably put a solid color in there. But I did oil base and waited a day and put another coat in there, so I got 2 coats in there. I left the motor area open and ready because I'm going to be doing, I'm going to have to put the motor mounts in and stuff, and I think you're going to need that raw wood, because I'm going to have to be gluing and screwing some brackets and whatever, and I didn't want to do it over stain. So that's where I am right now on this. As you can see, the plywood has been lined on both sides with the 1x2, and I sandwiched the plywood in, and I could put a cap on top if I wanted to, but it looks kind of funky the way it is right now. Now, I sealed that open edge plywood really well with 3 heavy coats of spar varnish, so the water will not go inside that plywood, and I might even do another couple coats on it if you're going to leave it outside in the rain. Okay, the next one will be taking the Sea-Doo apart and getting the motor ready to put in. Okay, thank you.